So this is a tool that I made in Excel. The best way I can describe it is a way to filter and sort cards in a collection. Affectionately, I call it my toolbox. And the reason for that is because I have a physical toolbox that I keep my cards within, and labeled deck boxes to help me locate cards. The reason why I made this tool was to help me to be able to better play different commanders from week to week playing cEDH. A problem that I had within the past, basically since I started playing cEDH, is sticking to one commander. And I think when you first start playing, that's probably what you might want to do. But I've been playing long enough that I feel like it's time for me to start really experiencing everything that the meta and the format has to offer. So rather than limiting myself to playing one commander, or 2 to 3, I guess, over the course of 6 months, I want to be able to play whatever I find interesting, whether that be a stacks deck or a turbo deck, a mid-range combo deck, whatever. If it's on the deck database and I think it's interesting, I'll play it. And I'm not somebody who's terribly great at brewing, so I rely on resources like the deck database, which is very good for me because I can look at those lists and say what's commonly played and pick those cards up to share between other decks. Of course, you have those really unique commanders that have a lot of one-off cards like Orvar or Winota. There's a lot of cards in those decks that aren't played anywhere else because the commander has such a unique effect. Now, the way that I have this organized is by the color of the card, not using the identity rules set forth by commander, but the color of the card as set forth by the identity of the card via the pips and the color of the border. So I have different tabs for the commander: colorless cards, black cards, blue cards, green cards, multicolored cards, non-basic lands, red cards, and white cards. Now the multicolored cards get their own little category here. They're not put into like Grixis or Simic or anything like that. There really aren't too many multicolored cards being played in Commander from what I can tell across the 20 lists that I've already looked at and have started acquiring cards for. So they kind of just get grouped in with the artifacts, mostly because a lot of the artifacts are shared between all these decks. So there's just a box for colorless spells, most of which are artifacts, but like I said, this list doesn't really get new stuff very often. So the way that this tool is meant to function is as I am perusing the deck database, or if there's an interesting list that I see on like a YouTube video that's designed for cEDH and I want to try it out, I can very quickly see if I own that card or not. So I come to the search bar here, and let's say I need to check to see if I own a Venser Shaper Savant. So we'll start spelling it out here, and there it is. We can see it, Venser Shaper Savant. Now there are two search results being displayed here. The one on the left filters by the letters as you type them for partial results, and then this one just shows you all the cards that have a V, or in this instance, this phrase here, a Ven. So we can see Aven has Ven here. We've got Vents there. We've got VEN and Rejuvenating. The reason why I did this is because there are some cards that are, for lack of a better way to put it, pain in the ass to spell. And I really don't feel like spelling the Tabernacle at Pendrell Vale, for example. So I'll just type tab, and there it is. So basically what this lets you do is, if you know a phrase within the card itself, lets you find it very quickly. So let's say Monolith, for example. Mono, there's no search results here, but there are search results there. So I just thought it was an interesting way to filter for these cards and would help me to locate ones that I already own very quickly. The basic idea behind this is sit down, choose a deck list, get the cards out really quickly, and then start playing. Now these are all done in alphabetical order, as you can see here. So are the deck boxes. So the basic idea is once I'm done, I can very quickly clean them up just by putting them back in the alphabetical order in which they belong in their respective deck box. I'm pretty happy with where the tool is right now, but there's still some work I have to do. Not necessarily on the Excel side, but mostly on the Moxfield side. So these are all lists, and I link to the lists that I found interesting. So this one, for example, Welcome to Treasure Island. This is a deck, I believe it's on the Brewer's Corner right now, and being on the Brewer's Corner, that means it's probably going to be getting changed, which means getting new cards for it. Now, I'm kind of a sucker in the way that I like to play exactly what's on the database primer for that list. And I need to come up with a way to basically say, okay, if they updated it a few days ago and I didn't notice that, I'll always have a list to play that has all the cards that I need. So the way that I plan on doing that basically is we can go to decks here on Moxfield. And these are all the various lists that I have tried to brew and have failed at. But something that's very nice about Moxfield is we can group things into folders. So basically what my plan is I just need to take the time to do this, is go through, duplicate the lists that I have the cards for currently, and basically just create folders for those individual commanders, and then as they get updated, acquire those cards, and then rename the list so I know what's current and what isn't current. So that's my proposed system for that. I think it will end up working out great whenever I get around to doing that. But overall, yeah, this is, as I described it, mildly interesting. I don't think I've seen anybody else do something like this, or at least share it. So I'm pretty happy with it, and I think it'll be wonderful for being able to really experience cEDH at its fullest.